this time it would not be a trap door that dropped its victim to hang by suffocation and a broken neck. This new gallows, the one for John Yates Beall, would launch him skyward with countervailing weights that would go down and yanking him skyward by the neck. As a Confederate spy, Edwin Gray Lee was diverting gold from his treasury to help bribe and otherwise free his friend Beall. Most interesting to historians and buffs of the Lincoln assassination was that some of Lee's gold was going to John Surratt, one of the assassination co-conspirators, the one who got away. The date of the hanging was set for February 18, 1865, between noon and 2. Beall tried to bribe a guard, and 2 saws were successfully smuggled into him and hidden into a shoe sole. Perhaps family money helped, or Lee's gold helped, but President Abraham Lincoln was deluged with letters pleading mercy for John Yates Beall. 91 congressmen and a handful of senators, in fact, who all, unfortunately, were the same Democrats who opposed President Lincoln's re-election. But the pleas kept pouring in. Then there was the visit to Lincoln by Beall's desperate mother and sister. Said Lincoln, "I've had more questions of life and death to settle in 4 years than all the other men who ever sat in this chair put together. No man knows the distress of my mind. The case of Beall on the Lakes had to be an example." John Beall wrote by a small lamp in his gloomy cell, "I care nothing for the judgment of mankind and nothing for their punishment I have to suffer, because I know my mother thinks her son is right, and my sister will honor my memory." He wrote a pointed request to Daniel to write about him and to preserve his family name. Beall also wrote in his diary, "On making a retrospect of my life, how much there is in it to deplore, how little to dwell on with pleasure, why candor compels me to confess that I am a failure. How many unknown secret and unsuspected sins were committed by me. My present life is a cheat and a deceit, a miserable, cowardly, contemptible sham. This is my deliberate opinion and judgment." On the day of his hanging, Beall received his executioners into his narrow cell. His mother, Janet, was gone, and they had said their goodbyes. He was silent and composed but for a moment. When his arms were bound behind his back, and all personal freedom was taken from him, he sobbed. And then the hood was dropped over his head, and the long walk to the outside scaffold on Governor's Island began. It overlooked the city and the inlet. Wrote one observer, "The gallows were situated on a green knoll commanding a lookout over the bay, and was surrounded by a select throng of guests of perhaps 150.